Osmosis is actually a good point because you guys have a lot of plans and actually also a lot of stuff that's right now live with the latest 176 proposal. But I think before we get into that, again, this is the second time. The first interview is very much about the whole ideology, the team, like how you got together, what was your journey in the past 10, 20 years, how you got into this kind of like sustainability sector. But maybe you can give a little bit of a kind of like an update since the last interview, which was, I think, almost half a year ago. What has progressed since then, and where are you guys standing right now as a project with Regen Network?
Yeah, maybe even more than a half a year. Time flies. So, yeah, I mean, we just went through a pretty large network upgrade, Regen Ledger 3.0. So it's the third big network upgrade that we've gone through. So the second was around bringing eco credit module on chain and the ability to express eco credits like carbon credits on chain. And then this recent upgrade is really about being able to take those eco credits, which are kind of similar to an NFT, where you have an extraordinarily rich metadata approach to expressing an ecological asset. So that these credits, these eco credits, have data about who is saying what, about where, using what science, and sort of anchoring the on-chain data and the off-chain data. And so, and they're issued in batches that are not the same as other batches, right? So there's sort of these fractional NFTs. And the basket module allows you to filter these eco credits and say, hey, we want to throw all the credits that say they're a carbon credit issued by, this standard into a basket because we believe that they're all fungible one-to-one, and turn them so that then they can be sent from Regen Ledger as the origination point to any other marketplace in the Cosmos ecosystem that has IBC enabled. For instance, Osmosis. And this is where there's been this big process with Osmosis, forum, conversation, engagement over the last month, really, where we've been chatting with the Osmosis community about the opportunities that having interchain carbon can bring to Osmosis and to the broader community. And so now that we've done this network upgrade, there's also a proposal that's live on Osmosis right now around Osmosis purchasing these carbon credits and retiring them to make it, I think, the first sovereign carbon negative, climate positive DEX in the world, right? So as a community, offsetting its carbon emissions, just sort of making that statement. And then the next proposal that's live on the forum, not yet live on chain, is about the Osmosis community using community pool funds to purchase nature carbon tons, this carbon credit from Regen, to match the existing Regen that the Osmosis community already owns as protocol-owned liquidity, so that Osmosis is the initial liquidity provider for interchain carbon, right? And the estimates that the community did, and different people were involved in this, were that, with an average amount of exchange taking place, Osmosis can not only make money from the exchange fees, but offset itself in perpetuity by hosting this protocol-owned liquidity of carbon, right? And also provide this initial liquidity to bootstrap carbon as an interchain asset, so that the Cosmos Hub and Juno and IXO and Regen and Secret and Terra and everybody who's interconnected can basically start to offset their blockchains, right? Can use these carbon assets as a new form of collateral, can link it with NFTs. I mean, the use cases for an on-chain carbon asset, which is essentially an ecological commodity, are sort of many-fold. It's very exciting. And I gave a talk at Cosmoverse about this sort of the future of ecological money and why my perspective about why these on-chain ecological assets are such an important part of DeFi. in the future. So folks can go check that out. Yeah, so that's, it's a really exciting moment in the relationship between Regen and Osmosis community, and basically launching a new carbon asset. And these are real world assets. We're not minting these from nothing. This isn't just sort of like, these are verified real world carbon outcomes coming from an institutionally adopted off-chain market where we're tokenizing an off-chain asset, bringing it into the blockchain world and representing it, and there's a guarantee that there's no double counting, there's full transparency all the way around about what's being articulated and the value of it. And again, this is linking a real world asset with a real world market and giving exposure to people who are running DeFi, who are participating in DeFi. So it's, from that perspective alone, it's very unique and interesting because it gives people the opportunity, this asset, NCT specifically, which again, NCT is very interesting and cool. And I can talk about how that standard was created, who else was involved, and the whole mechanism of that. But at a high level, what we're trying to do is, bring the first carbon asset into the interblockchain world in a really high integrity way so that we can start building this pathway from DeFi to refi or regenerative finance.
Yeah.